principally because we think it fixes major problems in the status quo with respect to some of our inner city communities in Jamaica. So that's the context for this debate. Jamaica, particularly inner city communities. Major problem we identify with respect to the status quo is the fact that these communities are havens for criminals. Not simply that these poor individuals are themselves far more likely than any other sector in society to commit crimes, but principally because these communities allow for criminals to use their communities as a base for criminal activity, principally as police officers, the normal state functions or state agencies don't operate in these communities because they're not wealthy. Individuals there don't have any sort of capital, they have no political mileage, they have nothing of the sort to affect public policy in such a way as to make their communities matter. We want to change that. So what we advance before this House is the following. One, we're going to be buying and reconstructing these communities in terms of their basic infrastructure for this simple goal. One, we want to attract more wealthy individuals into these communities, right? However, we're not into the business of simply displacing poor individuals. What we are going to be arguing for is setting up private-public partnerships to subsidize, for the vast majority of the poor individuals that reside in these communities, access to housing or infrastructure within those communities. For those who can't remain in those communities, we nonetheless will be relying on the NHU to provide access to housing elsewhere. But for the vast majority, for the poor individuals, they will remain. Let me continue. So the basic model is what we're going to be trying to do is improve the access of these poor individuals to far more wealthier individuals, increasing the contact between the wealthy and the poor, not leaving these poor individuals trapped in a particular community all by themselves, no access to capital, no access to political mileage. I'm going to be focusing on two arguments to justify this position, and the Deputy Prime Minister will continue with arguments focusing on this crime problem and the effects and how we're going to be fixing that. First, as I already previewed, this whole notion of social alienation. At present, and there are other examples across the globe, for example in the US, where black individuals, predominantly black, who are locked off in these communities on their own, facing the brute of the police force, having no access to any sort of political capital to stop that. They're alienated from wealthy communities. They have no means for any sort of social mobility. The vast majority of the persons they know are poor themselves. The vast majority of persons that they meet on a day-to-day basis have no means of moving further. We submit that networking, access to individuals